Hey, I'm Rob from JustToTheRoad.com and I'm going to show you how to play Starcadia Quest Showdown. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, plays in about 60 minutes and is published by CMON. Starcadia Quest Showdown is a shorter, quicker and more accessible expansion to a great game when you don't have time to play a full campaign. It adds a player versus player deathmatch mode to Starcadia Quest where players control multiple heroes in a small arena. Just heroes, no monsters. The player that scores 3 kills first is the winner. But first, why not hit the subscribe button with your hollow hammer, shoot the like button with your blaster rifle, and leave a comment on the computer terminal. Now let's go. Setup is short, but there's a few changes depending on the player count, so we'll go through those as we get to them. Lay out the board for the player count. One side is for 2 players and the other side is for 3 or 4 players. These purple spaces are computer terminals that are currently only used by very few characters to trigger their ability, so just know they are there. The blue and yellow circles are portals. Again, very few characters make use of them currently, but I'll explain how they work later when I talk about movement. There are 2 spaces on the board for exploration tokens, gadgets in this case. Place a red charge token and a green stimpak token on their relevant space. In a 3 or 4 player game, players pick 2 character cards in any way they choose. Pick 3 in a 2 player game and use the included modified dashboards. They're double-sided depending on the number of heroes you need for the player count. Add the character cards to the slots at the top of the board. Add a counter base of the crew colour to each of your miniatures. Now, counter bases are entirely optional in Showdown. In fact, there isn't even enough that come with the game to play with 2-player mode. I find they're helpful, but of course, it's your call. You can also play with the Starcadia Quest Build a Robot expansion, allowing a robot to fight alongside your crew. If you do, players get a robot dashboard. A robot comes in 2 parts, the head that goes on the top and the body that goes on the bottom. Shuffle these into 2 separate face-down decks. Players randomly receive one of each robot part from each deck. Put the cards on the dashboard and set the robot level to 1. The head, with the name in the top right, will show the trigger for their ability. For example, over triggers when an ally is killed. The body, with the name on the top right, will show the ability that the head triggers. For example, click will deal 1 damage to 1 robot within line of sight. So together, overclick will deal 1 wound to 1 robot within line of sight when an ally is killed. The circle in a robot ability refers to the level of the robot, which in Showdown is 1. Players find the relevant robot parts to assemble the miniature, again adding the counter base if you wish. There are also rules in the rulebook on page 7 to play with Arcadia Quest and the Pets and Mounts expansion too, but I'm just covering Starcadia Quest in this video. Back to setup and randomly pick 6 red weapon tiles, 4 blue passive tiles, 4 yellow reaction tiles and 10 green boost tiles in a 2 or 3 player game. Pick 8 red, 5 blue, 5 yellow and 14 green in a 4 player game. Put them all in the included bag, return the rest to the box. Choose a random start player. That player draws out 6 tiles in a 2 or 3 player game or 8 in a 4 player game. Starting with the player with the bag, these are drafted clockwise until there are none left. Meaning in clockwise order, players take turn picking one until there are none left on the table. Then the bag is passed left and more tiles are laid out, and this is repeated until everyone has had at least 1 first pick and the bag is empty. Players give each character up to 4 upgrades by placing them in their slots under the character card. At least one must be a red weapon. If you do not have enough weapons, discard a non-weapon upgrade and take a pulse blade, blaster rifle or laser pistol from those unused. If none of those are available, then just pick any unused weapon. Randomly assign starting areas on the board and players place their miniatures on those spaces. On to gameplay, starting with the start player and going clockwise, players will take a turn either activating a hero or resting their crew. When activating a hero, players may activate 1 hero per turn and that hero may move and attack. But players have 4 movement points to divide amongst their whole crew, even those heroes not activated. You can assign at most 3 movement points to 1 hero and must move at least 2 heroes each turn, assuming you have 2 on the board. Movement can be before or after an attack, and if you stop moving to make an attack, any movement points you didn't use are lost. 1 movement point allows you to move 1 orthogonal space. If moving on or over an exploration token and no enemy is on that space, you must pick it up. Add the token to that character on your dashboard. A space is considered full if there are 2 characters on a space. This blocks movement but does not block line of sight. If Mel or Starkid are in the game, as well as certain robot parts, portals will be available to use. When on a portal space, heroes or robots can spend 1 movement point to teleport to a portal space of the same colour. If the destination portal space is full, the hero can only teleport if they have enough movement points to move away from the full space, otherwise they can't use the portal. To attack, choose 1 unexhausted red weapon and any number of compatible unexpended green upgrades attached to the activated hero. The upgrades must be used for the relevant weapon type. For example, the compound visor adds 1 die for a ranged attack, shown with a pistol icon, so couldn't be used with a melee holosickle as it has a melee knife icon. but can be used with a ranged laser pistol. Then the player chooses a target within range of the activated weapon. Melee weapons, those with a knife icon like Heartburn here, target a close space. A close space is the same space the activated hero is in, or an orthogonally adjacent space within line of sight. Range weapons with the pistol symbol on the die, like this sniper rifle, can target anyone within line of sight. Line of sight is achieved even if it skims the point of a wall like this, and obviously walls themselves block line of sight. Attackers gather dice shown on used weapons, upgrades, and any bonus from their character ability. For example, Maxine is attacking with a laser pistol using the Dark Matter Cell upgrade. The laser pistol grants 3 dice, the Dark Matter Cell adds 2 for a total of 5. Maxine's ability allows them to suffer 1 wound to add an additional 2 dice, bringing the total to 7. Now notice that dice rolls are determined for the primary target, even if something allows you to target multiple targets. For example, Major Tom may add additional targets to their attack, but only the primary target will affect how many dice they roll. Before rolling, the player exhausts the used weapon and upgrade tiles by turning them face down. Then they check the target for any yellow reaction abilities. Reactions are exhausted if used when triggered. For example, if a character with a shielded shield is attacked, they can exhaust it to roll 2 additional defense dice. Special effects or passive abilities trigger as explained on the token. For example, the Veteran Eco Suit allows you to roll +1 die per roll if the character has any wounds. Now, passive abilities never exhausted. If multiple passive and or active abilities activate at the same time, you choose the order. Back to combat, and the attacker rolls their dice. Each knife is a success for a melee attack, each pistol is a success for the ranged attack. A crit like this not only counts as a success for both melee and ranged attacks, but you re-roll the die and apply the result as an additional die roll. The green symbol is a re-roll. For each re-roll a player has, they can re-roll that many die per roll if they are exhausted or not. For example, the Veteran Exosuit gives you 1 re-roll. Once that attacker has established a number of successes, the defender takes dice equal to the number of dice with a shield shown on their character card and upgrades. For example, Edge has 2 defense dice and their Big Bang armor gives them 1 additional defense die. For each shield roll they prevent 1 wound. Again, the crit symbol counts as a success and is re-rolled and the new roll applied to the result. The target suffers a number of wounds equal to the number of attacking successes minus the number of defensive successes. Wound counters are placed on that hero's card. If a hero's wounds are equal to or exceed their health shown on the character card, they are killed. The mini is placed on the player's hero board and any exploration tokens they are carrying are dropped on their space. The player that dealt the final blow gets a kill. You can use a victory point token as a reminder. Outside of combat on their turn, a character can discard a stim pack to remove all wounds on their activated character. Now, instead of activating a hero, a player can rest their crew. They unexhaust and fully reorganise upgrades and exploration tokens among all of their characters. If an upgrade is given a character life points and removing it from them will mean they will die, you can't remove it. Remove all wounds from killed heroes and put them in their starting area or in a space close to an ally. More on being dazed shortly, but when you rest, you stand up any dazed allies. On a turn, a player can discard a recharge token to unexhaust all upgrades on the activated character. Onto robots, and they activate each turn before or after the hero, even if they decide to rest their crew. They have 4 movement points, they don't take up space so they can end their movement in a full space and can't attack and can't pick up exploration tokens. They respawn the same as heroes but do not activate this turn, they are respawned. Robots have 1 health and killing a robot gives either a stim pack or a recharge token to the attacker rather than a victory point. Okay, let's finish up with some rules and terminology. An ally is any other member of a player's crew, including any robots. An enemy is a hero or robot from a different crew. If an ability allows a player to activate a second hero, it can't be the one they've already activated that turn. Passive upgrades work all the time. A player can't use an ability that costs life points if it would kill that character. For example, I mentioned Maxine's ability earlier, but they couldn't use it if they only had 1 rune remaining. Any character that is dazed is laid on its side. They act as usual but cannot roll defense dice and are stood back up when that crew rests. Play continues clockwise, and as soon as a player gets 3 kills, they win the game immediately. And that is Starcadia Quest Showdown, an arena combat dice rolling game. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when a video goes live. You can follow me on Twitter, Insta, Twitch and YouTube at Jester the Rogue, and finally find the blog at jestertherogue.com. I've been Rob, aka Jester the Rogue, and I'll see you soon.